Hello, I'm here to tell you my story and to let you know how basically like my whole life led to the purpose that I'm walking in today and how God orchestrated every step to lead me to the purpose that I'm doing right now for full-time ministry and just living my life for God. But I want to start off also by just thanking my mother and just giving her some honor. Everybody has supported me in so many ways. So I want to start with my family. My mom, she had 4 other siblings before I was here. Dad was there. He was helping my mom for the most part. And then they got engaged. He was traveling and doing certain things. He never really got over that stronghold. So it basically took over him. One day my mom was at home and she got a phone call that my dad died and he got shot when he was trying to get away. And that like tore my mom apart. I was only 2 years old when that happened and he was gone. I lost the dad and my mom lost the fiance. And my siblings started taking care of me. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. Fast forward a little bit, my mom tried to go through her healing process and basically we start moving around like everywhere. I won't go into details about everywhere I moved. I don't even remember every location I lived in, honestly, because I was a kid. And we moved around all the way up until I was in high school. So it will be moving around in the story constantly. We just was like really trying to figure out a lot going on and it wasn't like a lot of stability, but like I said, my mom, she gets all the grace and mercy from all of us because she lost the fiance that day. She had to figure things out with 5 kids and she had to keep going. I saw a strong woman at the end of the day. I was a very angry kid, so I was like fighting all the time and got in trouble a lot when I was in school. And I didn't like that we moved around a lot. I've never had like a close, intimate friendship. There will be multiple people that I mentioned about having relationships with in here, but eventually I will move and not be able to keep close contact with these people. And basically moved to Missouri and started going to school there. And I just would get like so frustrated about everything and really was struggling. And then finally by 5th grade, I started doing track and found a niche, something that could take my focus off some things. I still got in trouble, but they gave me a little bit more leeway because I was in sports and I did really good. So basically, when I was in school, that's where a lot of the shunning started happening and isolation from my family and my people around me, friends, you could say, I guess, I went to school with. That's when I started dating more. So if you ask my mom, she's gonna tell you I had a boyfriend my whole life. And I don't recall that from a little kid, but I'm gonna let her tell it. But that's when I started really like dating and things got a little crazy. Basically a guy I was dating, I was like in 6th grade. He wanted to kiss me, I said no. I didn't know what he was even talking about. He kissed me out of nowhere and they took pictures, like it was a whole setup. They took pictures of it and put it on social media and my mom seen it. She was so mad. And even in the picture, I looked disgusted, but like nobody thought of that. Everybody just saw she's kissing this boy, she's fast. And that's pretty much what was the label that eventually came about, that I was looking for male attention, that I was looking for men and wanting people to kiss me or do certain things to me. And I just didn't like that people had that perspective and no one ever asked me. It made me feel like I didn't have a voice to really speak up and say I never wanted that. And even when I did say it, it was like completely blocked out. I would spend a lot of time by myself and eventually I started to want to like take my own life and just really not live really. And for a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old wanting to take their own life, a lot of people don't understand that. And when you feel like you have no one and nobody listens to you, and it's like stuff that's not true, it's like everybody had something to say about my whole life. That I was sleeping around, that I'm having sex. My mom was like, I raised you in church, I raised you better than that, and that's not how you're supposed to live. All of my church people seen it. I eventually did start making certain friends, but they weren't good friends. It was just people who I could get in trouble with. Learn about who I was, and I never really cared about myself and taking care of myself at that time. So whenever I got in middle school, I met a girl, and she came up to me and she was like, why do you do the same thing all the time? And I was like, I don't know. And she just basically was like, I'm gonna help you. I'm thinking I'm gonna get some help. I'm gonna get a friend. I didn't know that she had a reputation of sleeping around legitimately and actually doing it. So basically us two being so close, it added on to my reputation again. Everybody's like, you still sleeping around. You're still doing all these things. You still out here having sex and not trying to take God seriously and do certain things. But really, I had a personal relationship with God. That's the only person I feel like I had a true friendship with, because in private, I could only cry to him and talk to him, read the Bible. And I had questions and I would go to God. And I never got answers. I'm not going to lie and say I heard his voice. I just had hope. And one day I just was crying to myself, and after I had to cut the friendship off when we moved in middle school, I just asked God, like, if you really want me to continue waking up every day and dealing with this, like, every school I go to, people don't like me. My own family talk about me. My own family believe the lies that people talk about for me. God, you're gonna have to show me, like, who you are. You're gonna have to tell me something. And still I didn't hear anything. I just kept reading my Bible and kept going. I said, if you really want to take my life, I'll die. And I never died. So I woke up and I was like, I guess I'm still here. And I just kept going. So I never tried to attempt to take my life. I just asked God to take it. Literally by my high school year, I was a freshman, and I wanted to commit to stop fighting and to really try to get my life on a good track and try to stop talking to so many guys. Like, 'cause I was talking to guys. I wasn't interacting with them, having intercourse with anybody, but I was talking to them, trying to fill a void that I never really had filled by my family, by God, because I didn't fully seek him heavy and really trust him. I was trying to find the love that I felt like I never really got. I was looking for attention. I was looking for a male's attention eventually afterwards, because no one talked to me, and it was a whole year finally when I finally went silent and I didn't say a word to my family and just went straight to my room every time, and no one said anything. And I felt like that was really the loneliest time of my life, right before my high school year. I meet another girl at another school. She got a bad reputation as well. Just clings to me every time. And it's this guy, he's a junior, and he wants to start dating me. And all the girls pretty much liked him, but he said he wants to date me. I said, okay. I said, I'm not having sex or anything. I'm still a virgin, so I would like it if we like not do all that. And he said, okay, I can respect that. So we dated the whole year. He never overstepped any boundaries, never said anything. We would just talk, but I got in trouble constantly throughout that year because Mom's like, she don't have no boyfriend, she needs to focus and do good in school. I got embarrassed a lot. One day, towards the end of the school year, I got sick really bad, and I just had to stay home. And I told him I was gonna be there, and I'll probably make it the last day of school, probably not. I didn't really care. And the last day of school, I decided to go to say bye to some people. So I went to school. Whenever I got there, I couldn't find my boyfriend at that time. So I was like, oh, I wonder where he's at. I was like, I thought he was gonna be here at school. He said he's gonna be here. At the end of the day, I go outside, and he's with literally one of the girls that's been trying to fight me the whole year. And I'm like, why does this girl wanna fight me so much? I was like, I'm not doing anything. They was hugged up, and they was actually kissing right there. And he saw me come, and he was like pulled away from her, and she just started laughing. She was like, I don't know why you thought he was dating a kid anyways. Like, he's been sleeping with me the whole time. And I just was like, bruh. In front of all these people, I was like, here we go again. So I instantly started crying. I started crying, and I just actually started walking home with my only friend I had. She was my only friend. I started walking home. And somewhere on that route, something woke up in me that was like not taking it no more. And I was like, I just told God I wasn't gonna fight no more. I'm not doing nothing no more. I was like, I'm sick of this. I was like, I'm sick of living and being the good girl, but then everybody look at me as a certain way. And so I said, I might as well live what people are telling me that I'm doing. I told my friend, I said, I'm about to lose my virginity. And she was like, what? I was so mad and just hurt, and like, I expected to get a love that I gave, and I didn't. And I had expectations of the man, you know? You know what happens after that? I did go, we did talk, and it did happen. I didn't feel like I lost my virginity. I was like, this is all this has been the whole time. I was like, I just wasted my time. I was like, what is this? I was so distraught. It's like, ran home, believed that I just did that, and I felt just disgusted. I knew I wanted to wait till I was married. I just didn't feel okay after that because it opened a door that I never really wanted to open. Never could look at myself the same for actually being what people called me, living up to their standard of what they always thought I was. My mom ended up going to a different school because it was just that bad going on and a lot of drama. And she had to move so I could try to go to school and focus. I went to school there for the past few years of my high school years and tried to push through, but I did start sleeping around eventually, sneaking out. And like I said, just actually living out what a lot of people said about me and caught myself owning it, like, okay, like you're not gonna do nothing about it, because I knew people wasn't gonna really fight me. I just kept going in this circle of nonsense, living for the wrong thing, still trying to ask God for my purpose. Like, God, what am I here for? What is my purpose? What am I here for? He's telling me this whole time, and I missed it because of all the lust, all the sin, all the voices I had in my head that I was following my whole life. I did keep doing track and stuff. I walked away from it because I just wasn't finding what I was looking for, and I ultimately was still just looking for that fulfillment of, like I said, that void that I never had filled as a kid, or just filled ever, because I didn't follow Christ the way I should have. Quit track, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Mentally, I was giving up on life. I was just giving up on a lot. There's no way y'all are gonna praise me for sports and then call me a whore in school at the same time. I was like, I can't do this. So I just walked away from sports. A few weeks later, my cousin invited me to start doing video production at a college. So I went and I started to do it. Eventually, I learned all the production things behind the scenes, how to do basically like shows and different video camera work, audio. The guy who I was shadowing, he asked me if I wanted to work at the university, but I said no. I not see me staying in Missouri. I don't feel like God wants me to stay in Missouri. So I cannot take this job, but I said thank you for teaching me something about myself that I never knew, that I actually do have a passion for something and do like a lot of film work. You helped me find an escape. My mom ended up moving my senior year, and I was so mad. I was like, found this thing that I like, got so much stuff together and got myself together and stopped talking to these guys, and for you to just move. So we moved my senior year. I get connected to the wrong crowd again. Don't get to do any film work out there. I did join like an A+ program, but like, cause my grades were good, but it didn't matter to me afterwards. I didn't know what I was gonna do with myself. So I got connected to the wrong crowd. So one day we was at school, he just asked to go to lunch. So I said yes. And then he brought his friend with us, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is not gonna be good. Cause this guy got in trouble a lot. And so we all left the school and went to go get some food. I was like, I really just wanna go back to school. I don't wanna be out anymore. If y'all could just drive us back to the school. And he was like, no. He's like, we're not going back to school. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, where are we going? And he's like, we about to joyride, we about to crazy stuff. And I just was so mad because they ended up switching seats, get in the car. The guy gets in the car, drive for 5 seconds, and hit a parked car. The car literally spins and almost hit a house. And I'm just like, 5 seconds in the car and you don't even know how to drive? You don't have a license? I was like, oh my God. I was panicking in the car once it stopped spinning because we was really close to this house. And I'm talking and I'm doing all this with my hands and stuff, and I didn't look down. It felt like my hands were moving like while I was talking and yelling. So I didn't look down, and eventually we all got out the car and the guys was like, well, we're about to leave. And when I heard that, I was like, so I'm gonna be left here by myself? I looked down and I was like, I realized my arm wasn't moving, and I was like, oh my God, my arm was like dangling off. And I was like, I said, I literally cannot leave because I don't have a freaking arm to like go. I have to go to the hospital. So they leave me at the scene of the accident by myself with my arm broken. And all I could think in my head was like, if I don't die today, I'm gonna die by my mom. I really need to die, God, like this time. I truly need to die. So it's just so much weight on me at that time. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I didn't plan for this. I wanted to go back to school. My principal basically got there first, and I don't even know who told her about the accident. I was like, this cannot get any worse. And I just didn't know what to say at that point. I was like, I'll tell you what happened, but I said, I cannot get expelled. It's my senior year. She was like, I'm gonna give you two options. Like the one option is you can graduate early, and because you do have enough credits, you can graduate early and just go. Or you can stay and continue your A+ program and just continue on forth and get your free college. And she was like, well, you told the truth, and I also know that you're not a bad kid. She was like, I talked to your other principal before. She said, you do get in trouble a lot, but she was like, you're with the wrong crowd, and she really sees a lot of potential in you. I was like crying so hard. I was like, she told you that? I was like, that's why she never expelled me either. Like, I guess. I don't know. I was like, I guess that's why she never expelled me either, with all the fighting and all the stuff that I did, and like getting in trouble at school. They all just had so much mercy for me that I just didn't understand. I was like, the only two people who believe in me. I was like, I'm gonna take the leave early, and I don't wanna go back to school. Take immediate surgery to put metal pieces in so you can try to have a stable arm, but he's like, you'll probably never be able to move your arm again. Wake up, and I have 3 months in the cast and going through therapy and just trying to rebuild my confidence back, because those are the worst 3 months of my life. And then one day, God sends me a friend. He literally saw me before I had the accident, and he messaged me. He was like, I saw you before, and then I heard about your accident, and I just was wondering if you were okay if I come and pray with you. And I was like, pray with me? I said, I don't even like God right now. I said, I don't have an arm. I'm not gonna have an arm after this cast. No, I don't want you to pray for me. He was like, well, can I at least read the Bible with you? And so I said, okay. I was like, sure. I was like, you can come over and read the Bible to me. So my mom let this man come over every day. I did not say he'd come every day. He came every day reading the Bible to me. And I was just like, I was like, okay, God. I was like, I'm just gonna let him read it, because I'm a little mad at you right now, because like, I don't know what life is gonna have for me. And eventually, like, the words just started softening in my heart. Eventually, one night, whenever I started reading the Bible as well with him, I had my own encounter personally with God, and just felt a sense of forgiveness and relief from the accident situation. And I was listening to a song called I'm Free, and she was just basically saying how she was free from the lust, free from the shame, free from so many things of the past. It helped me go forward that day. And I was like, I don't know what you got planned for me, God, but I said, I'm gonna find the strength to fight. Fast forward, they take the cast off after everything. Me and the guy, we didn't end up staying cool afterwards. Honestly, I think God just sent him for a season, honestly. Like, God sends people into your life for a season, and that's okay. They took the cast off, and like, your arm is gonna actually recover. So that gave me hope to go live on my own. My mom was a little scared. I asked mom if I could move to Texas, and she said yes. I was blown away. I was like, okay. I was like, you have to say yes to me my whole life. She was like, yes. She was like, you can go. I was like, okay. So my godmom, she asked me if I wanted to stay with her. So I said yes. I just leave everything behind. I only knew her, my godmom. I didn't know anybody. So we come down to Texas. I'm 17 years old, just graduated high school early, going forth on this journey that I don't know. First day I'm in Texas, there's this 14-year-old girl, one of my godmom's friends, daughters. She was talking to me about church, and I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I don't really like church. I said no, and then finally by the end of the night, she asked me again. I was like, okay, I'll go to church. Next day we go to church. I didn't know they had something going on almost every night. So we went to church the next day, and I was like, bro, I said, I did not move here to go to church. I go to the student service, and it was cool. It wasn't much to really make me want to like continuously go, because I didn't want to stay at church. So I stood around at the end waiting on her. She was talking to a few friends, and I'm thinking I'm invisible or something. I don't know what I was thinking. I just was standing there, and literally a pastor comes in, and he's like looking around. He like walks up to me, and he was like, are you new? I was like, yes. I was like, I'm visiting. He's like, do you live in Texas? I was like, yes. I just moved here yesterday. He was like, perfect. He said, I was sent over here to come get you. I was like, from who? I was like, nobody knows me. He was like, I was sent over here to come get you. And he's like, I actually want you to work here with us. And I was just like, what is going on? I said, y'all don't know me. I was like, I don't know you. You don't know if I'm a killer. So I still want you to work here. And he was like, we could just process this and start like you walking with somebody. We'll get you a mentor. And that night when I was on my way home, I just cried. I just cried so much, because I was like, there's no way somebody saw something in me to come and just hire me on the spot and tell me that they want me there. Like, I was just blown away. I was like, nobody's ever Nobody's ever done anything like that before in my life for me. Basically, I started working at the church and trying to get my life together. I didn't fully know what discipleship was and what it means to live like following God heavy. I was just still kind of doing whatever I want, but working at the church. Later on that week, I got a call from our family lawyer. Like, you got a lump sum of money that's gonna be coming. Okay, I was like, how much money? I was like, is it enough to give me a car? Because I'm trying to leave. He just provided financially for me. And I left and I just stayed in my car because I was still 17 and I couldn't get an apartment. And nobody even let me stay in the hotels. It was just a whole runaround. And I was just like, I basically just had to stay in my car. So I was okay. I just wanted to sleep in my car and just see why God wanted me to go through this situation. Whenever I turned 18, I got a place. Actually, I got a boyfriend living on my own. And I don't really know nobody here. I was like, but I'm just gonna talk to you. I was like, cool, whatever. And we became cool. And then I eventually started doing more film work and modeling. Basically, the guy I was talking to, we got into it, and so we stopped talking for a while. And he just kind of went about his own ways, and I didn't hear from him. I didn't know why he kept going in and out on certain things, but I just wouldn't hear from him for months, so I just stopped talking to him. I went to take a test, and it said I was pregnant. I took 2 more tests, and it said I was pregnant. I went to the hospital, and I was like, am I really pregnant? I was like, because I don't think I'm pregnant. She's like, what did the test say? I was like, it said I was pregnant. She's like, okay, well, these said you was pregnant too. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I got pregnant by my best friend. Trying to do good. I was like, I'm literally about to get hung and set on fire. I don't know what I thought this was. I thought it was like, I don't know, maybe the 1800s. But I literally called my pastor and because he's been walking with me intimately already. I said, I have something I need to tell you. He was like, oh, what's going on? I said, I'm pregnant. I didn't give him no time to. So the process, asked me how my day was. I said, I'm pregnant. And if y'all gonna kick me from the church, like just tell me now because I cannot do this. And he was like, why would we kick you from the church? And he was like, we're gonna have to follow up on that conversation. But he was like, you don't have to leave the church. He's like, you could stay. And I was like, oh. I called my mom. I was like, I know I'm about to die. I was like, so let me call her. I said, I'm pregnant. And she's just answering. She's like, what is going on? I was like, I'm pregnant. She's like, oh, well, you're kind of living on your own anyway. So like, I think you could take care of the baby. I told her instantly I'm keeping the baby. I was like, I'm just telling y'all. I was like, I just want to see who's gonna cut me off. And she was like, oh, she's like, well, I'm not, she's like, you're my child. She's like, I'll walk with you through this. Then I called my sister and she literally drops the phone, picks it up, and she's like yelling, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. She's like, I'm about to move to Texas. And I was like, what is going on? I was like, God, is this a joke? I was like, everybody's supportive. And the guy came back around who I was dating and he was like, I want to help you with the baby and like be a part of your life. And I was like, I literally just cut this guy out. Like, I'm not supposed to be talking to nobody. He was like, it's okay. Like, I'm just gonna come to church with you and like support you and we'll just all help you. And yeah, that lasted about 2 weeks. And I was like, I can't do this. I was like, stop talking to him after that. That was like a really tough time for me because a lot of people didn't know that I was struggling between like so much lust and so many things and just trying to fix certain things. And then he asked me to marry him and gave me a ring. And so I'm like, oh, okay, y'all told me to get married. They was like, and why would you marry him? And I was like, I thought y'all told me not to have a kid out of wedlock and to get married. And they was like, no, we're gonna explain this a little bit better. It was, what am I supposed to do? And they was like, don't marry him. Back home with my family to have my child. And I'm like really torn on what to do. And that like really broke my heart kind of though, because we just kind of built this bond already and I knew he was gonna help me. And I just didn't plan to be a single mom. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I basically just like broke down and I ended up leaving the church and just going back up with my mom to Missouri to help me raise my son. And my pastor ended up calling me a few weeks after and just let me know like, you know, I didn't have to leave and quit and like walk away from everything, but I just couldn't keep going to church and thinking about like the fact that we would spend so much time there. There was too many memories. I was like, I can't do this. Because I was there for 2 years at that point. I was like, I had to take some time away. Basically spent 2 years of hell in Missouri trying to get my life together. Started college though, so in the midst of the hell, I did go to college and get my degree in business management, but it's like, I was in fights, I was going out drinking, smoking, started getting a bunch of tattoos all over, and I was not taking care of my son. I just was losing like kind of the focus, and God was like trying to wake me up the entire time. It's an abusive relationship. It was lasted about 4 months. One day we got into it really bad and he threw me like on the ground and I ended up hurting my leg. And so I thought I was gonna be okay. I called one of my friends to come pick me up and he took me home and he was like, you need to stop talking to this guy for real, because it's getting serious. Like, he doesn't have any remorse on how he's hurting you. I went to sleep, woke up the next day, and literally fell. As soon as I got up trying to walk out the bed, I fell down. My leg was literally like just purple. My foot was swollen. It was so bad. And they sent me home that day, so I had no choice but to go to the hospital. It was like, it's not broken, but they're like, it is really injured. They was like, what happened? And I just lied and, you know, said I fell. And I sat there in the room and they didn't believe it. They just like left the room and I just sat there by myself and I was like, well, they had to put a cast on my foot. I was like, why do I have to lie about this situation? Like, I'm like, is this really love? I was like, maybe I should take a break. I just started to care more about what my son thought of me eventually and the men that I had around him. And I was like, I don't think this is gonna be good. I was like, I think I need to go back to Texas. I was like, I can't stay here. In that moment, I literally heard God's voice so loud. He was like, tell him you're moving to Texas and you're going back to church. And I was like, God, why the heck would I tell him that? He don't care. I yelled out, I was like, I'm about to go. I'm about to move back to Texas and I'm going to church. I said exactly what God said and told me to say. And he was like, turned around and looked at me. He was like, okay. He was like, that's fine. He was like, I knew you was going to leave me anyways. And he like walked out the door and left. I was like, God, if it was that easy. I was like, what the? I was like, he just left. I was like, I don't even know if I'm happy or sad that he left. And I just didn't know what to think. All I knew is I started packing my whole house up. Sent my son down to Texas early. Literally started moving stuff down. I just thank you, God, for healing my foot, healing me. And I just want to go forward from this. And so I left, came back to Texas thinking I was going to go to school and get started doing good. I'm 22 at this time. And I'm like, okay, God, like, I'm going to do good. Come back and start going to the club, going out, drinking all over again, still just in Texas, and then going to church, drunk, going to church high sometimes. And I wasn't working there at this time. Knew I was still in sin, so I didn't want nobody to see that I was back at church. And so I just wanted to get my life together, but it got worse. Like, I started going with celebrities. I went on tour. I literally was just dating celebrities. And so after I got back in town, this is after COVID was really just ended. So the church was already kind of light. So they kind of knew I already came back anyways. After I got back in town from being on tour, I just was like distraught. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing in my life. And I came back around to the same cycle of asking God, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? What am I here for? Literally, I went back and just talked to the guy that I was with. I can't do this no more. He's like, you too crazy, too damaged. He's like, I don't even know why I'm still with you. And so we broke up that night. And I was like, I just had a whole breakdown moment with God already. Now I got to deal with this. And so I just went in my car and started speeding home. And I was like, God, honestly, this time I'm about to take my life. I said, I'm not doing this. I said, I don't know how we keep coming back in the same circle, God. I said, I asked you what's my purpose and you didn't tell me. And now I'm living life doing stupid stuff and I haven't healed. I need help. Nobody's helping me. It was just felt like everything was crumbling. And I was in my car that day and just crying out. And eventually I felt like this presence just come over me. Like, it was just so overwhelming. And I was like, I stopped crying and I started looking around. I was like, God, is that you? I was like, oh, no. I said, I asked for you, God. I said, I asked to die, but I said, I'm not ready. And literally, like, I was like, God, I'm not ready. I was like, and then all of a sudden I heard this, like, voice tell me, like, I just want you to live for me. And I was like, I can't do that either. I was like, I can't live for you. I was like, I just want to continue to go to the club. I'll give my life to you when I'm 30. I just can't do this. And basically, it's like, I can love you more than this world can love you. You've been looking for love your whole life. And you haven't found it, and I want to give you that love. It sounded good, but I said, God, what if you break my heart like everybody else? And God just did. I didn't hear nothing else after that. So I got out the car. I went to sleep, woke up the next day, was invited to church, my own church. My mentors invited me to my own church because I didn't go to Saturday night service. So they told me to come there instead of going to the club. And I went there that night, and literally, like, during the word, I just basically had this overwhelming fire feeling kind of all over me. And I was like, am I the only one hot in here? And they was like, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm not okay. I was like, I just feel like I'm burning in hell. They was like, why is it gotta be hell? I was like, because I'm supposed to be in the club. I was like, all this other stuff. I was like, I don't know. I was like, God is mad at me right now, and I don't know what to do. And no one understood. They was like, God is not mad at you. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, so basically, I run up to the altar, and I was like, I need prayer. And I need it now. I was like, I just feel like I'm literally on fire. And my friend came up to me and she was like, I know what the issue is. She was like, God wants you to live for him. And I was like, how do you know that? I was like, what is going on? I said, I can't live for him right now. She was like, what else are you doing? She was like, you come to church, you out here doing crazy stuff, you have a son, you need to be who you said you wanted to be. And she was basically speaking back to what I wrote in my journal before. I wrote that I wanted to be a godly mom. I wanted to be a good mom to my son. I wanted to show him basically, and somebody who cared for him. He woke up the next day and God took over, and I was like, okay, God, I'm just gonna live for you at this point. So I went to tell my mom that I was gonna live for God and change my life, and she said that was the best news she ever heard in her life, and she started crying. And basically going forward then, that's when I gave my life to Christ. And ultimately after that, that's when I started back serving at church, working and getting my life together and living for God. And everything started to change for me after that. I started to hear God. I started to go follow his voice and just do whatever he told me and repent for all the things that I did and really just give my life to God. But basically, that's how God woke me up. He truly had to shake me and show me that the love that I've been looking for my whole life, the purpose I've been looking for my whole life, everything I've been looking for has been within him this entire time. The joy I felt of giving my life to him, I never felt that before. The freedom I felt, I never felt that before. And I feel like I never had a voice literally my whole life growing up, and that the enemy tried to attack that, to take that from me my entire life. And God gave me that voice back. God let me know you don't have to do anything that I didn't tell you to have to do. You can just be my child. I can love you and guide you, and you do the will of the Lord, and that's go for it. So I agreed to do that. And ever since then, I've just been changing my life, walking in discipleship, and really just trying to be the role model that God has called me to be, and finding the purpose in my life of where God is calling me to go in ministry, the people he wants me to serve. But the only thing that mattered was I actually wanted to live. The night when I gave my life to Christ, I tell people all the time, I was like, I did die that day. I was like, I died. And when I woke up, Christ was the only thing living within me. Once he rose me up that next day, that's whenever I really started changing things around me and changing my life and living for a different purpose. It just had the impact that it had on my life today to continue to go forth. And it just launched me in a purpose of doing full-time ministry, going to school for ministry, being the mom that I was called to be, and being representation for my son at home, and everything that I do, the representation for my family, my friends around me. And all of that went through, started from just nonsense, all the fighting, the bad decisions, and just struggling through life, trying to figure out myself, trying to figure out my purpose, my voice, who I was, and always on this journey of looking for purpose. And God was the only one who revealed that to me and gave me something to actually live for. I never found fulfillment in anything else that I did. So that's pretty much the testimonial. I'll probably do another video on the launching into purpose, show how God was moving through every aspect of that to build me up to be the strong person that I am today, bold voice, very strong and courageous, and always standing strong for him because I stood strong through so many situations that impacted my life today. All right, thank you.